Welcome to Drop Me Off in Nashville with Sebastian Roberts and Scott Hugo.
Welcome to the little show that could and in fact still does.
It sure does. How's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm Sebastian along with my dear friend Scotty. And Scotty, how you been, man?
I'm doing well. We got a great show this week. We're going to do a show called How Do You Know?
And I love that title because, you know, when you're in the business, you know, how do you really know?
How do you know?
How do you know?
When was your moment? Like, I can tell you mine. My father was dying back in 2007. He had cancer real bad.
Right.
Doctor said you got a month. He had a month. Sitting by his bedside, he literally said to me, he goes, you need to go live your dream. He goes, you have to go do what you have to do because you're just miserable. And you have to go find your way and go figure out what that is. And just do me a favor. When you make it, buy a pink Cadillac. You can't buy me one. That's really what you always wanted was a pink Cadillac. I'll be gone, but buy a pink Cadillac. That means that I know that you made it. But I literally packed up everything, sold my house. I was making $40,000 a year running a bar, and I had a couple of kids, and some guy in a black robe told me I could see my kids 4 days a month in Minnesota, which is absolutely crazy. And
I remember that.
And then when you move 1,000 miles away, you can see them whenever you want. So go ahead and figure that one out. But the thing about it is, it's just you got to know and you got to believe in yourself more than anything else because nobody's going to believe in you.
Right. And you know, we've said this a million times, you know, they're not going to come to Joe Blow, Oklahoma and say, hey, by the way, you're a karaoke singer. So, you know, here's a checkbook.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Right.
You got to know. I mean, do you fit in? You know, when I have people come to town, I usually say a couple things. Come here, check it out. Do a long way, do it like a week, maybe 2 weeks, whatever you can afford, and just figure out what the city's all about. Do you fit in? Do you think you can fit in? I know it's fun. Nashville's fun.
It is it's
fun, but how are you going to fit in? How are you going to make your mark, and what are you going to do when you get there?
Right. And you know what? You have to be in it. In it to win it. I know that sounds cliche, but you really have to be in that scene everywhere you can, you know, Nashville, Hollywood, Jacksonville, Augustine. You have to be in that business to be noticed in the business. You know, we didn't meet these people by accident. It's because we worked hard.
Yeah, you have to be there. There can't. Mark told me, our producer, he said that one time he heard an interview where Tom Petty said there can't be a plan B. This has to be what you want to do. I want to do music. If I have to play in some bar every weekend just so I can play the music, I'm good. There can't be a plan B. You have to be in it to win it.
That's right. And you know what? Honest to God, I loved, you know, playing the local bar scene. What was so fun for me, almost too fun. We'll get into that in another episode. But it was a lot of fun just to, you know, be local and get out there and be in front of people and your friends are there. And
I think that's a really good point. But at the same time, did you feel like it was the same audience every weekend? Did that get tiring? I mean, was it a challenge for you at that point, or you kind of knew what songs they liked? You knew how they were going to react. You knew he was going to show up. But you go to Nashville, you have strangers that you have to entertain every single time they play.
It's a whole different ballgame. When you're playing local and at home and you know, you're doing the local honky tonk, right? And it's all your friends and people from high school and you
get down to Nashville and it is not that way.
You don't know anybody.
They could be from Australia, they could be from Texas, they could be from your hometown, but they're not going to be the only people from your hometown. And you have to keep them in that bar. So how do you know is a very important thing. How do you know that it's the right thing to do? It costs a lot of money. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you relationships, your sanity. Sometimes it's going to cost you lots.
It is absolutely. And, relationships, definitely. Family suffers.
Boyfriend, girlfriend, you might as well forget it.
Yeah, no, there's that's a hard one to try to balance, to try to balance a marriage with a music career. Good luck with that.
Even like a boyfriend and girlfriend, I've seen a million of them break up.
Yeah.
Mostly because of jealousy, so it's insecurity. But at the same time, it again, how do you know? What do you want to do? How are you going to make it in Nashville?
Right.
If that's what your dream is. You have to be willing to put all those things aside so you can make your mark in the music industry. And that's not very easy to do. That's for sure. What do they say? 1% and 1% make it?
1% and 1%.
That's not very good odds.
You know, and good luck with that.
So I always like this. This is always a good line to use. Who are you going to knock off the radio? Are you going to knock Garth off? Are you going to knock Reba off? Are you going to knock Jamie Johnson off? Who are you going to knock off the radio to put your song in their place? Because listen, there's so many hours in a day, and there's so many times that songs can be played.
Right. And you know, just like you said, this is a big pond, and there's a lot of fish in that pond, and they're better than you.
They're better than you. Yeah.
You know, and they are. You know,
it was funny when Randy, we were talking to our investor in episode 3, he said, the thing about it, you can go on The Voice, you can go on all these different television shows, but the fact of the matter is I can walk you down Broadway, Nashville, and I'll show you 100 people that are way better than you.
That's right. And,
way better.
Yep, and you'll see them and don't be discouraged.
No, don't be discouraged. Be inspired.
Be inspired, because
how do I learn?
You're going to come down there and see people like John Stone and Scott Collier, and these guys are going to make you want to quit.
Yeah, I got a new artist in town. I always hate to do this, but at the same time, I'm gonna. Her name is Ashley Lynn. She is green as green, from Minnesota. Came down. I have a small, a weak spot for people from Minnesota because I'm from there. And a friend of a friend brought her to me and wanted some help. And the only thing I could tell her was, it's a big party town. Good luck. It's tough. Try to get into a bar. Try to start getting your feet wet. And within a year, she's playing some of the best bars in town. So she really dug in, and she's done a good job for herself. I'm proud of her.
And we've seen the other side of that too. You know, there's a girl that I won't say her name, you know, but we both know her very well. And she had a great thing going, singing at Tootsie's in the stage, and you know all the the big places down there on Music Row. And right now she's serving beer out of a beer tub because
it's tough.
Well, you know what? She let it go to her head.
Yeah, when you get paid $2,500, $5,000 back in your hometown to come play a show, and you get down to Nashville, they say, "Well, we play for tips here."
Yep.
And secondly, you're going to start off in the beer tub because you're going to earn your way. So we know that you're good enough. It's a hard pill to swallow.
It is tough because, you know, like you said, when you come from, you know, back home and everybody's saying how wonderful you are and, oh my God, you're great. And you sing karaoke and, oh my goodness. And you get down there and you see, like we said, you know, the Colliers and the Stones and
that are amazing.
And It really puts yourself in check, you know, if you're paying any attention at all.
If you're paying any attention at all,
right?
Just remember, you guys, how do you know is very important. Look yourself in the mirror, John. You taught me this. If you could stare yourself in the mirror in your eyeballs for 5 seconds and not be disgusted, you're good. So ask yourself that question: can I go down to Nashville, stare yourself in the mirror, and go, "Can I do this? Can I do this?" I'm not going to blame anybody. I'm not going to say that's somebody else's fault if I didn't make it, because there is no other option. I'm going to make it.
It's hard.
It's hard. Sing your own songs. Practice your own music. That's what sells. Karaoke does not sell. Like a band is, to me, is a glorified karaoke bar. That's really all it is.
Yeah, right.
Instead of the tracks playing, you have a band playing behind you.
Garth Brooks already did Garth Brooks just fine.
Just fine. He don't need no help.
You don't need to be going out there singing Garth Brooks, man. You know, or Kenny Rogers or Dolly Parton.
You'll sell a lot of beer doing it, but then it's not going to get you a record deal.
No.
Well, take a look at all these television shows, like we were talking about with Randy on episode 3. All these shows that come out and they get on this, and they're all singing karaoke stuff.
Yep.
They finally win. Oh my God, I'm the big winner. You put them in the studio and you never hear from them.
Drop right off the planet.
Because you got to be able to sell your own stuff. Right. Network. Find the right thing. Speaking of that, we have to talk about something. Last week, we were talking about the different writers' nights in Nashville. And
right.
We did some research, like I said we would. We found out that the beer for my horses. What was it called? Beer for your horse?
It was Beer for Breakfast.
Beer for breakfast.
It's not there anymore. But, you know, the Bluebird Cafe.
Oh, amazing.
You know, they still have it.
You know what the Bluebird is? What's so cool about that is Garth Brooks and Taylor Swift both got their deals out of there. And when you go in there, you literally cannot talk. When I say that, it's a respect to the craft. So you go in the Bluebird, you sit there. It's been on many different shows. If you did any research on it, it's harder than heck to get a chair in there to play. But if you do, you can bet your hind end that somebody in that audience knows somebody high up in the industry, and they're there for a reason.
Yes,
Bluebird is amazing.
And you know what? Winners is another one. You know, Winners and Losers down there on Music Row is incredible. I mean, I've ran into so many people. Jeffrey Steele.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, Ross and Nicholson. I mean, he just
Losers Bar is owned by Irv Woodsley, but rest in peace, sir. He was George Strait's manager. And actually, he passed away down here in Clearwater. I don't know what his surgery was, and I'm not educated enough to talk about it, but rest in peace, sir. But he owns Losers Bar in Nashville. And that's where a lot of the celebrities hang out, for sure.
God,
it's cool,
you know, it was
really cool bar.
It was really amazing to be there. You know, the Omni Studios, where you and I recorded with Tommy. Two-tone, Losers and Winners were right across the street.
Yes, right across the street.
And we, what a blast, you guys, seriously. Some of the greatest writers in the world just hang out in there. You know, it's just, and nobody's licking anybody's boots, by the way.
Not.
These are just songwriters and artists that just hang out, and they don't want to talk about their career. They just want to sit down and have a beer for a minute.
And let me tell you something. Just be careful, guys, okay? When you come to town, don't talk about how much money you have. Act like you're the most poorest person in the world. And anybody with any kind of success as a songwriter or in the industry, if they want to help you without knowing you have money, you're probably in good hands. But if you start talking that grandma left me $30,000, the next thing you know, that person's going to try to be your best friend and bring you in a studio, and in about a week you're going to be broke because you're going to give him your $30,000 and nothing's going to happen.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It happens time and time again. So some of the cool songwriting places that we found, the Bluebird, like we talked about. Whiskey Jam is at Winter's Bar and Grill, like John just said. Douglas Corner Cafe is cool. The Commodore, man. That's in a Holiday Inn.
Which one was was that the hotel one?
That's where I got to watch Tommy Barnes a couple times.
Yes.
Tommy's wrote Indian Outlaw and a bunch of other ones. Look up Tommy Barnes if you want to see an incredible songwriter and a human being. The guy is just amazing. You worked with Tommy, didn't you, John?
I did, yeah. Yes.
Indeed, on the Muscle Shoals stuff, wasn't it?
Not only Muscle Shoals, he wrote Muscle Shoals, Raining on Me, Unwanted Man.
Golly.
I mean, we
what a talent.
Oh God, we got along so good.
And if you want to think about a guy who's just as nice as he is talented, that's Tommy Barnes. Hey, listen, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Looking for your all-access pass to the heart of Music City? Whether you're an artist, songwriter, or just a fan of real-deal country music, the Nashville Music Guide has you covered. Discover who's rising, who's playing, and what's really happening behind the scenes. From Broadway to the back roads, it's your go-to guide for the music that moves Nashville. Find it in print, online, and everywhere music lives. Nashville Music Guide, where legends and locals meet.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. Hey. Hey, listen.
Hey, don't go nowhere. Sebastian and Scott got more coming at ya.
That's right, y'all.
Listen, you know what? When we take a break, Scott and I start talking and giggling and laughing.
What we're doing here.
And we forget what the hell we're doing, man.
Hey, let's go back to How Do I Know? You know, I want to tell you one more thing because I get this a lot. And I want to talk about it because number one, it's important. And number two, I want to answer all you guys' questions. How did I know that I was going to make it when I was there? It was simple. I was at Tootsie's. We talk about Tootsie's a lot.
Yes.
But before,
well, Tootsie's a big part of our history.
I mean, it had everything to do with our history. It's cool. But I'm sitting at this bar, Tootsie's, and I'm watching probably Collier or John Stone, my two favorites in that town. And I'm trying to get a drink, and I finally got one. And there was a gentleman behind me, and he was trying to get a drink. And after a while, I just realized that he wasn't getting up to the bar. And that, me from Hibbing, Mr. Humboldt, would you like to get a drink, sir? And so you move, and then he comes up, and he's in the VIP booth, and he says, hey, that was really nice of you. What's your name? And I told him it's Scott. And he goes, well, why don't you come over and sit with us? I'm like, okay. I didn't know it was you in the VIP booth. I had no idea what that was. So I go up there, and I sit there, and I start talking to these folks, and they're talking about things that are much smarter than me and much bigger than me. And the next thing you know, he's handing me his card saying, why don't you call him? And good old me, I blew him off because I thought he was full of SHIT. And I thought,
Mole Star.
And I thought, here we go again. Now you're trying to tell me that you're going to help me and you're going to do this and you think I'm a good person. And I'm going, what? But at the same time, 2 weeks went by. I did my research on it, and the next thing you know, I'm running a management company in Nashville, which was pretty cool.
You know, and Scott, you know this story. Of course, you know this story, but the folks out there don't know this story, so I'm going to tell you. When Scotty came to me in northern Minnesota on a dead-end dirt road halfway to freaking Canada, he comes and he says, look, he said, Bash, look, man, I'm going down to Nashville. And I said, oh, God. I said, Scotty, please don't do that. I said, you know what? They're going to eat you up, spit you out. You know, there's a lot of sharks in the water. Just please don't do that. And he went down there. And next thing you know, I'm recording with Tommy Two-Tone because of Scotty. I'm working with, Terry Nails, and it's just some of the greatest people on the planet.
Thanks, man.
And I don't know how you did it. You know, here's what I think. I think that the reason you're successful and still today is because of your humility. I think because you're humble and you don't go down there like the cock of the walk. You know what I mean? I think it's because you come down there like you don't know, and you're willing to listen to people and take advice and learn. And I think that's personally, I think that's why you're so successful as you are now.
Thanks for saying that, but let me tell you on the other side of that, it's not all rosy, because I have friends of friends, cousins, brothers, sisters that would say, "Hey, will you listen to my niece, my nephew?"
I can't take it.
And here's where it gets sticky. You know, when you do finally, quote unquote, make it in music, or you're helping somebody, or you're running a company and you're trying to help artists along their journey, make their dreams come true, you have to sometimes say no. And when you're able to email Warner Brothers and they take your email, you're able to call Sony and they take your call. You don't want to wreck that by sending them somebody who can't sing, because as soon as you do that, the next thing you know, they're like,
no.
Line 2, Hooger's on the line, send them to my voicemail. And I always protected my name by not doing those things, even though it cost me. People get mad at me. But the cold hard truth was, your niece, your nephew, your brother, your cousin, your friend are great karaoke singers, but they're not artists. There's a big difference.
No, there's a big difference. There's a line in the sand there, you know. If you like singing local, we've said this before. If you like singing local, go for it, man. It's a really fun job. It's a great career. It's really not a job, but it's a blast, man.
Right.
But if you want to get in this game, you better bring the frickin' A game.
Yeah, because I got called everything you could imagine. And then that's when I finally said to myself, I'm only going to help people that I know that if I can see something in you, we're going to meet first. We're going to talk.
Yep.
Like my Ashley Lynn, let's talk about her. I met her at the Nashville Palace with the person who brought her down. I sat down in the corner and I just started asking her questions. And I saw a drive in her eyes that I didn't see. I knew she was very green, but I knew that she wasn't going to quit. And there's a big difference. When I know that, when I can see that or feel that, you have my attention. And she's had it since then, and she's doing very well for herself.
And how did Michael Gillis know?
How did Michael Gillis know?
You know, because you took him right to the top frickin' 10.
Thanks. 13.
13 now. Yeah. He's number 13 on the frickin' billboards.
Kennedy. That's what's pinching me. Like I said earlier, I'm getting some reports from some pretty big names that are asking to do duets with Michael, and I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. We need to make sure that's right. But when that happens, it's going to be hard for me not to be starstruck, because they're pretty cool names.
Well, yeah, but you're not that guy. You're humble.
Thanks.
And you know, and you're thankful, and you appreciate the breaks that you get in the business, and you taught me that. So you know, all the way along when you hooked me up with doing shows with Gretchen Wilson, Lori Morgan, Aaron Tippin, frickin'
cool.
Pam Tillis. You know, I mean, I have done a lot of shows because of you, and one thing you taught me was humility, and that's what got me with the Hee Haw folks, because Ronnie Stolman fell in love with me because I didn't act like I knew anything,
right?
And really I didn't know anything. You know,
I remember when I was a kid. Speaking of Ronnie Stolman, again, rest in peace, ma'am. That my dad and mom would watch Hee Haw, and that lady would come on. She was the iron board lady.
Yeah.
You remember her?
Yeah.
And she would do that little skit and pretend like she'd beat up her husband. And I remember the first time I met her, I thought she was the funniest lady. And what a banjo player. My God.
Oh, my God. Did I tell you the story about...
No, go ahead.
I'm at John A's in Nashville. And I think John A's is gone now. It's a liquor store or something.
Yeah.
This little lady comes up to me and she says, "You know something? My daddy taught me how to read fate." And I went, What does that mean?" She goes, "You're a singer, ain't you?" And I said, "Well, okay." and she went and grabbed her banjo. We went outside. And she started playing House of the Rising Sun on a flippin' banjo. And we were out there singing. She's going, "We got to get in the studio with this." And I said, she goes, "I need a ride home. Will you take me home?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I will." She goes, "You better get on your paper." God, what a wonderful lady.
So I don't know. You got to just ask yourself, what's the thing that you're not going to regret? Don't get into your 30s or get kids and get married and buy a house and have a payment and then go, when I was 20, I should have went to Nashville and tried my career. Don't do that to yourself. It's not fair. Go live your dream. Go try. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a hard sell to tell your mom and dad that you want to move to Nashville and you want to, go try a music career, because the first thing they're going to think of is it's a long shot, which they should. They're your parents.
It is a long shot.
Why aren't you going to college? Listen to this. Let me tell you this. Allie Colleen is Garth Brooks' daughter. And he asked her to go to college, which she went to Belmont before she went into her music career, because he always said to her, if you need something to fall back on, you have it. We're talking about Garth Brooks' daughter. He's got more money than probably many. But at the same time, he taught his kids, listen, I'm still your dad first. That's what matters. So go get a career. And then if you need to fall back on it, not saying you're not going to make it, but if you need to, you have that. I thought that was really cool.
It's brilliant.
And I think that's probably what your parents are going to tell you if you're going to hop in the truck and you're going to run down there without a job, without anything. You got to realize that they're not saying that because they don't believe in you. They're saying that because they love you and they just want to make sure that you're making the right decision. That's a pretty cool thing. Remember, there can't be a plan B. What happened to you, Bash? Why did you decide? How did you know to do this? I mean,
I didn't know. No, man. I was in a heavy metal band in the basement. You know this, and when you and I met at that bar you were running up there in
Max Bar and Grill,
Minnesota.
Somebody asked me about that. I don't mean to interrupt, Bash, but
no, it's all right.
Somebody called me one day and said, "Where's that Max Bar and Grill?" I said, "It's on 65." I'm in Cambridge. I'm like, "Oh, you passed it." But they called it on the way back, so it's cool that we're helping them out a little bit. God, I didn't know. And when you came over and recorded Can't Get Over You and All Over This Country, we laid down the vocal tracks. You had a bad throat. And so I just cut the vocal tracks for you. And I said, "Well, look, man, learn it like karaoke, come back and we'll cut the vocal tracks." And you sent that down to Full Entertain. And I get a phone call a few days later, and some cat's going, "Hey, is this Sebastian?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." He goes, "Well, is that your voice on the record?" I said, "Well, who are you talking about?" And he goes, "Can't Get Over You and All Over This Country. Do you know Scott Hooger?" And I went, "Well, yeah." That's what started, man. But I don't know how to just take. I have to give back.
But that's what started this whole frickin' journey, because I ended up in Jacksonville, and that's where I met Terry and Tommy Two-Tone, and you and I were down there, and next thing, Jimmy DeVito,
we recorded in Jimmy's studio. That was crazy.
God, it was nuts, man. Yeah. But that's where my whole world just,
honestly, it just happened.
It just happened.
Do you think that you would have stayed in East Bethel if I didn't do that?
To be honest with you,
yeah, you couldn't have been happy. You were very good at what you did, but was that satisfying?
If I'm going to be honest, if I would have stayed doing what I was doing, I'd be dead
today.
I would
been dead.
Yeah, I'd be dead.
Yeah,
because I was just partying. You know me, man.
I know, but that you had the setup and all the stuff you did for the food shelves in Minnesota and all the different shows you did, you had something to offer. I think an artist like you don't go out there and talk politics. You don't go out there and you're mad because of this, that, or the other thing that's going on in the world. You go out there and entertain them and take them away from their everyday life. I think that's what artists do. And I said, you're very good at that.
But but you have to have that opportunity, and that just doesn't happen by itself. No, it happens because somebody opens up a door like you did and says, "Hey, I need you to go to Jacksonville." And look,
Do it.
Come and meet these people.
Well,
and
you were better than me. That's the fact of the matter is you got to, even you guys, how do I know? Remember what this means. You're going to go to Nashville and you're going to see that. You're going to walk down Broadway. You're going to walk in these bars and go, oh my gosh, I can't even hold that guy's or that gal's guitar pick, let alone get up there and think I can beat them.
Right.
But that means nothing. That means that you can't do it that day. That doesn't mean that in a year from now you can't be better than them. You got to believe in yourself. There can't be a plan B. We'll be right back after this.
You're tuned in to Drop Me Off in Nashville with Sebastian and Scott. I think they've been dropped off at a few Nashville bars themselves.
3.
Your guitar isn't just an instrument, it's your voice, your soul, your weapon. So don't let it dull out. Bring it to life with Doc Simon's Miracle Guitar Polish, the premium 4-ounce organic formula that restores, protects, and ignites your finish with a stage-ready shine. Safe for every guitar finish and fine wooden instrument. Zero junk, all tone. Whether you're shredding solos or strumming stories, this polish delivers pro-level results every time. Make your guitar look as good as it sounds. Doc Simon's Miracle Guitar Polish. Your secret weapon for shine, tone, and total respect. Get yours now at SlamoCustomGuitars.com. That's SLAMO CustomGuitars.com.
Well, hey, we're back, and
back.
we're in the how do you know? And
I just can't get over it because if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong. I would call when I was in Nashville, number one, because I was homesick and I wanted my friend down there. But I would say, John, you got to come down for this, or John, you got to come down for that, or John, I'm going to this special event. Will you come down? Or John, we're recording. Will you come down? And every time you showed up for me, I think I knew I could rely on you as a friend. Number one, to help me from being so homesick. But number two, you were building your career, right?
Well, but I didn't know that then. I mean, who had any idea? I didn't know where all this was going to go.
I mean, Katie worked at Delta, right? Your daughter, so she was able to help with some flights, which was cool. But most of the times you drove.
Yeah, and that was really, my daughter was working for Delta Airlines, and I was driving back and forth to Nashville constantly, like Scotty said. And my daughter says, "Well, what are you doing driving?" And I said, "What are you talking about? I got to get there." And she goes, "Well, I work at Delta. You fly for free." I said, "Oh, shut the door."
Yeah. That changed everything. Katie was so sweet by offering that.
Yes, she was. And, I actually, I was using Delta Airlines like Uber. Then I was flying everywhere. Hollywood, Jacksonville, Nashville. I was on an airplane just all the time.
But was there ever a moment that you're up in East Bethel and you're laying in bed, or you were in your basement and you're down there by yourself just working on your music? When did you honestly just all of a sudden go, I need to be there? It's in me. Did that even happen?
Yeah, it happened for a very long time, and we talked about relationships. This career costed me a marriage. There's no question about it.
That's sad.
When my ex and I were sitting down talking about this Sebastian Roberts thing, by the way, my name is John, so you're John.
That's my fault. His stage name is Sebastian Roberts.
Yeah.
John, you said that when we listened to the last couple. You're like, you keep calling me John, but I can't because you're my friend. So you're my friend first, and then an artist after. So, folks, it's my fault. I apologize.
We'll get into the brand, later. But I was going back and forth and at the time I was going through what was the beginning of a divorce, and it was time to either stay in Minnesota or go all in, really. And you
went all in.
You were with Cracker at the time, Uncle Cracker's driver. And
bus driver.
Yep. And
he's a dear friend today.
I came down there and we ended up getting an apartment together, and I just never looked back, man. That was 2015?
Yeah. Do you remember all the stuff with Cracker? I mean,
yes.
He was so nice. I mean, you talk about a guy who's been all over. He's worked for everybody. He's a bus driver, but one of the best. And he was so kind to you and I. Oh. House was wide open. He's my dearest friend today. Sometimes I go to Nashville. I stay with him and his wife's his girlfriend. It should be his wife because she's lovely. And I stay with them once in a while, and I absolutely love it. I almost feel bad because I go to Nashville too much that I don't want to wear out my welcome.
He went on the road.
Like, please come.
Remember when he went on the road?
Yeah. Oh.
And he goes, Bash, man, check it out.
Oh, I remember this.
And he had listen, y'all. He had
let's call it Coleman Lake, the Coleman Lake House.
The Coleman Lake House.
Coleman Lake House. Yeah.
He had a walk-in closet, y'all, with I'm talking, 8 foot of shelves of nothing but liquor, and he goes, well, Bash, man, he goes, yeah, you can just stay here while I'm gone. I'm like, all right. He goes, help yourself to all the liquor you want. I went, you know what? That's a bad idea, dude.
Sure?
And he goes, no, you can't possibly drink. You know what? He got home and he's like, what happened? And I went, well, what? You told me to drink it.
I said to David when he got home, I said, you should never tell John to help himself because that means he'll help himself.
Because I drank every single bottle of liquor in that closet, man.
Remember when you opened the closet and all those purple bags of Crown
Royal?
There were thousands of bags up there.
They fell out of the closet.
I think he collected them, which was really cool. I bet a lot of those were probably from the bus, working with Uncle Cracker and all those guys. And
he drank a lot of Crown, man.
He drank a lot of Crown.
Yeah.
David, I'm not going to say his last name unless he says I can, but I'll tell you, he's a dear friend, a good person, and I'm happy to be in his acquaintance.
He's a
We've
great
been friends
guy.
now for 15 years.
Oh yeah.
Next time we go to Nashville, we're definitely going to go see David.
And well, you're in Nashville all the time, when I come back there again, then
we'll do it up.
I can't wait to see him.
We almost just have to bring him a Crown of like a bottle of Crown, just because we have to bring him a bottle of Crown, just because he'll just probably laugh.
Well, now Crown's like $100.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No, it's crazy.
So how do you know that you guys? We'll tell you 1,000 times over. You got to believe in yourself. Nobody's going to believe in you. You got to work it. You're a small little minnow in a big old ocean. And if you can try to get some friends, real friends, because remember, they want to get on the radio too. So if it comes down to that either you're going to be on the radio or they're going to be on the radio, they may not be your friend after that. So just pick carefully. Make sure you surround yourself with good people and people that are going to trust, that you can trust. And don't tell anybody you have money. That's the last thing you want to do, because in a week it'll all be gone, because I'll tell you that's exactly how much that recording session is going to be. You have $30,000? Oh, well,
that's what it's going to cost.
Usually it's 60, but what we're going to do for you here is I'll pull some strings.
Yeah, we got a special deal for you.
We call them circus carnies down there. That's what they are. They're all circus carnies. No, everybody, you got to have a project. You have to have something to pitch. Dirk Bentley told me that. He's like, I'll tell you what. Anybody in Nashville, go make a project. He said he made his for $8,000 and he went around town and he shopped it. He didn't pay $80,000. He didn't pay $100,000. He did what he needed to do, put his voice on it, and he went from labels and he shopped it. It's very, very, very good advice, because look at Dirks today. He's an incredible human being, number one, and what an artist. So follow those people's leads ahead of you. Don't listen to all the noise in Nashville, because there's a lot of noise in Nashville. Remember when we went into Curb Records in Miss Judd's office? It's actually Becky Judd. And John and I went and we sat down there. Tell this story, Bash, how we walked in and the little girl who was following us with cowboy boots on. Remember all that?
I was supposed to go home the day before this happened, and then Scotty goes, hey, man, we just got a call from Curb Records, and we need to get your promo pack put together. I mean, we're talking, it's 5:00 at night, and I had to catch a plane at 5 a.m. or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even have a promo pack left, and I had to have an 8x10 and a bio and all this nonsense.
Remember now, everybody said, you got to have this, you got to do this. Right. If you don't have this, make sure you do this. Make sure it looks like
you have to have an 8x10.
You got to have that.
You got to have a bio. You got to have, your history and all this. Really, it's nonsense.
All of it. Noise.
It's racket. And, so I spent all night trying to get all this stuff together.
All night.
And the next morning, Scotty and I go into Curb Records, and I'm meeting with Becky Judd, and
executive assistant.
Scott and I are sitting down with Becky, and I had just worked all night long to get this promo pack together.
I mean, all night long.
And she grabs this promo pack, pulls out a trash can, and drops it right in the garbage.
Right in front of us.
And she goes, well, this doesn't matter. And I went, oh, what? And she grabbed my CD and she goes, everything starts right here. Nothing else matters except
we have
the content.
We have people that could do everything that I just put in the trash for you 10 times better.
Right.
We don't care about what's in there.
It doesn't matter.
We care about the music.
Yes.
And I looked at that lady and I got chills over my entire body. I'll never forget it. And I thought, what a piece of advice. And all these people that were supposedly in the music industry before us, including myself,
right?
Going, you have to have this, you have to. It's all nonsense.
It's nonsense, man.
But that was 20 years ago.
Listen, everybody. Everything starts with the music. If you don't have a quality, and by the way, you don't need 85 songs on a frickin' CD.
No,
either.
you do not.
So what I want you to do is have your own music. 2 of your own songs, and if you want to waste your money on a cover, go for it. But it all starts with the music, and if it's not yours, it's already been done.
Yeah, but Bash, how about this? Could you offer, if you're going to do a cover, make it your own?
Absolutely.
That's okay.
Oh, yeah.
A good example of that recently was the girl that was on one of the American Idol, whatever it was. I think it was American Idol, but it's Loretta Lynn's daughter. And granddaughter, excuse me, it's Loretta Lynn's granddaughter. She did a rendition of Coal Miner's Daughter on a grand piano on the stage, and she made it her own, and it's absolutely stunning.
Man, I heard from when you and I were shopping the record for Unwanted Band, right? And Ollie said, hey, we got to have a couple of covers. I'm like, God, I'm paying, a lot of money to cut these songs, and why am I doing something that somebody else already did? Well, that's what producers want, whatever. And I still don't agree with that, but in retaliation, so to speak, I did an Elton John track, and I did April Wine from 1974. Sign of the Gypsy Queen, and I did Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word by Elton John. And believe it or not, it got in the hands of Bernie Taupin, who's the writer for Elton. And this is back in, 2010. And wow. Like you said, it was not an Elton cover. It's something I did completely.
You did it your way.
I did it differently, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's important. You have to, if you're gonna put a cover on, make sure you own it. Make sure it's your song.
And there's things I really want to say that I can't, but there's some country bands out there that did songs that somebody we both know wrote, every one of them, and all they did was just mimic every single thing he did, and I'm like, oh, it's terrible.
Right.
It just sounds just like him.
It sounds just
that's
like him.
all.
Well, you guys listen, if this episode hits you in the gut in any way, that's not by accident. Know that. Maybe today or tomorrow might be your day that you need to get in your truck or get down to Nashville and start doing something that you want to do. Live your dream. Don't let life pass you by. It's too short. And remember, you're going to get pushback. That's just normal. You're going to get pushback. It's not out of hate. It may be a little out of jealousy from some people, but it's mostly out of love. People that care about you. So just don't let that discourage you, but take that good advice with you. So, John, what a great episode. I love this one.
It's awesome. Cool. I love it when we do this, man. It's so freaking fun. It's the highlight of my week.
Next week, I want to do this thing. I want to run it by you prior to we'll do this live. We usually do this in private, but let's do an episode called maybe Holler and Swallow Your Career Goodbye. Do you like that one?
Oh, no, you're right up my alley. No, yeah.
Holler and Swallow Your Career Goodbye. That's cool.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do it next week.
We'll do that next Wednesday. You guys like and subscribe if you like us. Share if you don't mind. We appreciate it. We're doing real well with what's going on. I'm seeing the numbers, and I'm pretty happy. And
it's awesome.
It's so fun that we're reaching these people, and I can't wait to reach more. And email us, do whatever you want to do, but remember, be kind, don't be mean, because we'll just delete that. Like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Thanks for joining Sebastian and Scott. Don't forget to like and subscribe to join the Drop Me Off in Nashville family. Engineering and production provided by Podcast Production Music.
Well, Nashville, can't thank you enough for all the time.
Y'all come back now. Here?